The Con Game of Allergies. Once again, we've been had. For over a century now, the allergy concept has been used by both practitioner and afflicted as a scapegoat for every unpleasant, anomalous reaction that humans and pets have to varying innocuous stimuli. When no other explanation is forthcoming, people just throw their hands up and say, well, I must be allergic, and all thoughts go to either suppression of the symptoms or avoidance of the triggers. If the progenitor of the allergy idea didn't have exactly this goal in mind, along with empowering a multi-billion-dollar industry, he might as well have. 113 years on, the allergy lie is as profit-making as it is beloved and endemic. For those seeking to establish health independence for both their dogs and themselves, there's a way to look at allergies that empowers us rather than the sickness profiteers. Every time you hear the word allergy, think temporary hypersensitivity with emphasis on temporary. The very word allergy has become a deliberate mental manipulation intended to ensure that everyone hearing it knows that this is a condition for which there is no known cause and which offers no options except 1. Avoidance of offending substances, and 2. Suppression of symptoms with drugs, natural remedies, or other products. A substance is either problematic for all members of a species or it's not, and if it's not, it's the pathology of the individual that's the problem, not the substance. We've been led to believe that certain individuals are just allergy prone, like it's something they are born with and can do nothing about. This is just nonsense. People recover from allergies all the time when they change their diets, and so do dogs when they are properly fed. Let's explore the real causes of allergies. Identifying causes is not only necessary in order to solve a problem, it's quite easy where skin issues are concerned, and the explanation is actually very simple. Here it is. When a toxemic state exists in the body such that the primary eliminative channels can't keep up, the skin is sometimes enlisted by the body as a secondary avenue of elimination. That's why skin lesions are often called eruptions. They're like little volcanoes pushing stuff out. Toxins and wastes come through the skin, causing irritation and inflammation as they come into contact with nerve endings. Skin irritation, hot spots, hair loss, and inflammation of the skin should therefore be taken for what they are, signs that disease is forming inside your dog. To resolve skin issues, therefore, all we have to do is find out what's causing so much waste to be produced in the body. And in all cases of allergy, whether they are declared to be food-related or not, the primary culprits are indigestible foods that the dog is ingesting. When causes are removed, their effects go away. The universal law of cause and effect does not make an exception where dog disease is concerned. This explanation for allergic reactions makes a lot more sense and gives the body a lot more credit than the illogical, unnatural, nature-hating idea that the so-called immune system attacks itself. The body never does anything that's not in its best interest. Living organisms are not suicidal. They want only to go on living, as this is their absolute #1 biological mandate. When it appears to us that they are harming themselves, it's only because we don't understand what the body is up against, what it's trying to do, and what its real needs are. Medical practitioners, ironically, are the ones who are most in the dark about this. What about severe or life-threatening allergic reactions? When a reaction is very severe, such as in the case of anaphylactic shock, it's because the body's been pushed beyond its capacity to deal with the wastes and abuses it's been subjected to, and in those cases all it takes sometimes is the tiniest little trigger to push it over the limit. When that happens, sometimes pharmaceutical intervention can be justified because shifting the burden temporarily to another part of the body, which is what drugs always do, can save the life of the person. Whether the person really would have died without intervention is not known, and many times these drugs are given when death would not have resulted. So we really don't know to what extent they prevent death. We can only assume that there are times when the risk of death is great enough to justify the toxic cost of the drug. However, in almost all cases of allergic reaction, it's not worth the toxicity because there is time to simply remove real causes and allow the body to heal. An analogy. Imagine for a second pouring pure lemon juice over your hand. It doesn't hurt, right? But now imagine you've got a rash on your hand or you've scraped or cut yourself. When the acids in the lemon make contact with those extremely sensitive raw tissues, it's going to cause pain. What this analogy demonstrates is that it's the subject's skin that is the problem, not the lemon juice. When a dog is improperly fed such that acidic wastes constantly circulate throughout the body and make harmful contact with internal tissues, these tissues become sensitive and reactive, just like an external injury. Inflammation is what the body does to ameliorate the damage that these acidic wastes cause. The body brings fluids to an area where wastes are deposited to dilute harmful substances, and it brings heat to hasten their elimination. Inflamed tissues become hypersensitized to the slightest trigger, and that's why all it takes is exposure to otherwise harmless stimuli like grass and pollen. So once again, it's the wastes that are the problem, not the so-called trigger. Another analogy. In concept, there is very little difference between a physical hypersensitivity and a psychological one. We understand that when a dog has a psychological hypersensitivity, it's because something is wrong with the dog. The default setting in dogs is fear. Generally, anything they haven't seen or heard in puppyhood they will be leery of as adults. But some dogs develop very strong fear reactions to certain sights or sounds, and dog trainers all know that although it can be difficult in some cases, these habituated responses can be counter-conditioned. That means reversed. It's the same with physical hypersensitivity. With psychological hypersensitivities, we have to wipe the mental slate clean by allowing the dog to associate the offending sight or sound with something pleasant or fun. With physical ones, we have to do something similar by cleaning out the body so that tissues that have been made hypersensitive from chronic contact with circulating morbid wastes become normal, healthy, and strong. Vaccinosis. Many dog owners are being told by their holistic vets that their dog's allergies are caused by a relatively new phenomenon called overvaccination or vaccinosis. While it's true that vaccination most definitely contributes to a dog's toxemic load, it's a mistake to conclude this is the sole or even primary cause of allergies. It's an admission of ignorance, actually, because many dogs whose owners were previously told to attribute their dog's allergy symptoms to vaccinosis have seen these symptoms go away after they started feeding properly. When it comes to determining causation, we can't know how much of the dog's current issues are attributable to past vaccination and how much is caused by past and current feeding mistakes. We can't take back previously administered vaccines, and whatever damage was done by them and other mistakes can only be healed by giving the body exactly what it needs right now and no more. That's what proper feeding does. Treating allergy symptoms without first optimizing the diet and allowing healing to occur is absolutely not holistic. It's just as suppressive and reductionist as the pharmaceutical approach. Apoquel, Cytopoint, and other allergy medications. There's a new class of allergy drugs that have come on the scene recently that have been pushed very hard by vets and unfortunately have been embraced by dog owners desperate for relief from their dog's allergy symptoms. All drugs cause damage to the body, and these drugs are no exception. These allergy drugs are being given over very long periods, even though some of them have not been tested for long-term safety in dogs. We've found that in dogs that have a long history of having these drugs administered to them, extended detoxification symptoms can be experienced, and these dogs can be very slow to heal. So once again, patience is required. The body is under no obligation to heal quickly once an owner discovers what he's been doing wrong. It heals at the rate that it's able, and all we can do is cooperate and allow it the time that it needs. The healing process can sometimes be uncomfortable, but it is temporary. At the end is the permanent cessation of symptoms without the need to continue administering harmful suppressive substances to your dog. Dazzling distractions. VCA is a corporation that owns more than 1,000 animal hospitals in the U.S. and Canada. They are a subsidiary of the Mars Corporation. Yes, the candy manufacturer. On VCA's website, an article by Drs. Catherine Barnett and Ernest Ward says, quote, "Most allergies appear after the pet is 6 months of age, with the majority of affected dogs over age 1 or 2, unquote. The next paragraph contains the only mention of cause when the authors state that some allergies are inherited. One must wonder then why it takes a year or longer for symptoms to appear in most dogs if the condition is truly inherited. And why even mention genetics if only some allergies are supposedly attributable to them? What about most allergies?" Like most others of its type, this article goes into every other possible aspect of allergies except what might be causing them. Is there any other field of endeavor besides human and veterinary medicine that so utterly avoids contemplating the idea of cause? Can you just imagine for a moment how much success bridge engineers or airplane designers would have if they didn't look at causes when things go wrong? Yes, it definitely does take at least 6 to 12 months for most allergies to manifest, and many don't show up for a couple years. There's a reason for that, which offers a much easier and more realistic way to understand what's really going on, and it puts the power back in your hands. Here it is. It takes time for tissues to become irritated and inflamed from constant exposure to internal pollutants such that they become hypersensitive to harmless stimuli. It typically takes months or years of misfeeding primarily and other forms of maltreatment like medicating and vaccinating before that happens. That's what an allergy is in a nutshell, and it is entirely preventable and reversible. There clearly is a genetic component in allergies because not all dogs develop allergies. But as much as the various medical industries like to pretend that genetic predisposition is cause, it is not. Dogs that are predisposed to allergies will not develop them without real causes. And those causes are mostly dietary. Is allergy testing a good idea? The expensive, protracted process of allergy testing only aims to determine what a dog's triggers are. These useless money-generating tests seem to cement in a dog owner's mind that there truly are no options besides trigger avoidance and symptom management. But why identify triggers when you can remove causes and allow the dog to recover from all previous hypersensitivities? Those dog owners who have the wisdom to flout an official allergy diagnosis and go forward with appropriate dietary changes are typically rewarded with a permanent cessation of symptoms. The more treatment a dog has undergone for his sensitivities, the longer it can take to reverse it, and this can sometimes mean many months of ongoing symptoms while the body cleans out. But, as previously mentioned, the process of detoxification is temporary. The alternative is permanent symptoms and expensive, time-consuming, often futile management. As I hope you've surmised by now, allergy testing is a waste of money if you're a dog owner, but a virtual guarantee of lifelong income for vets, both conventional and holistic. That which causes allergies causes a great deal more. All conditions of the body are related to each other and to their real underlying causes. You can think of skin issues as your dog's canaries in the coal mine because they signal, typically in young adulthood, disease that is forming in your dog's body. They are usually the first outward manifestation of an internal state of toxemia. Skin issues need to be taken seriously because they portend much future suffering for you and your dog if their causes are not removed. For dogs that are properly fed from the start, skin issues need never be experienced even by those dogs who are genetically predisposed. What you're looking at are before and after photos of dogs previously diagnosed with severe allergies who have fully recovered without pharmaceutical or herbal remedies and in fact no veterinary intervention at all. Their owners simply started feeding them according to rotational monofeeding methods. These kinds of results are occasionally seen when other feeding methods are employed, but since those other methods typically only correct some of the causal factors, they represent only halfway measures. Rotational monofeeding corrects all of the mistakes that led to the condition, so it offers a much more predictably favorable outcome. Veterinary medicine will never abandon the allergy concept because it represents an enormous source of power and wealth to them. For dog owners willing to exercise some independent thinking, allergies represent a commensurate opportunity to take back power that is rightfully theirs. If you're interested in learning more about how to remove the causes of your dog's allergy symptoms, please visit rotationalmonofeeding.com. Tackling allergy issues really is as simple as relearning how to feed your dog. Dogs need real foods just like we do, and the foods that best nourish them are available in the same stores where you buy your own food. The Rotational Monofeeding website and the book that is sold there will teach some simple principles that will allow you to properly and confidently feed a home-prepared diet to your dog and thereby avoid not only allergies but most other health issues that commonly afflict dogs. Thank you for watching.